Babadana, who's, well, was third, of course, to Medicine Path last time, having travelled well throughout, hasn't won for quite some time now, 4 years. This is his 5th consecutive appearance in the Sandown Mile, but he's been a good servant.
Likewise, Blythe Knight, who has been a real good money spinner for his connections since joining John Quinn. He was 4th when Medicine Path won at Doncaster. There's no obvious reason, other than the fact that, that today's race might not unfold the same way, why he should beat that horse this afternoon.
Well, Major CADEAUX could have gone to Leicester today for a listed race over 7. He would have been penalised in that, though. He tries a mile for the 2nd time in his career, having finished 6th in last spring's 2,000 guineas.
We talked about Medicine Path, and he beat his stable companion, who was much shorter in the betting, at Doncaster last time. They went a blistering gallop, and he picked them off and won a shade cleverly. But I just worried that if I was backing him, that he would get the same sort of race today.
We heard from David Simcock about Metropolitan Man, who's got a little bit of ground to make up on Tell on that run at Newmarket last October. And on his best form, he'd have a chance. But, well, he's got to produce it today to win this.
Rob Roy's been noted in the various gallop columns in the trade papers of working well since he rejoined Sir Michael Stout. He won this race 2 years ago. He's also been placed in much better company than most of these. If he's spot on, he'll certainly give Medicine Path and the others plenty to think about.
Now Bahia Breeze, who lines up here for the Ray Guest team. Oh, beg your pardon, we're doing Tell first. Now, he's a horse that has done particularly well in his career, but his win-to-run ratio puts me off him a bit, Jim. I just think he might just be not straightforward. He looks well, though.
Bahia Breeze, 2nd here last year. She's a really good filly on her day, as that form would indicate. I'm a little bit surprised there's not more money for her this afternoon, because she's certainly no 16-to-1 shot if she's in the same mood as we saw 12 months ago. The blimp has been a huge feature of our coverage here this afternoon at Sandown Park, sponsored by William Hill. As we say time and time again, it just gives us another dimension and hopefully makes your watching at home that little bit more enjoyable. Well, we talked about the Doncaster Mile. Mike, what do you think of it?
Yeah, Jim, I was watching this very closely because I strongly fancied Don't Panic that day. That's the horse on the right of Medicine Path. Jamie used him almost as his lead horse here. But the horse in front there, of course, is Tell, who finally finished 5th. Blythe Knight with the white face there too. The black caps behind him is Babadana. So a lot of these horses reopposing this afternoon. Babadana just short of room briefly. But Jamie gets a lovely run through on the outside. And Medicine Path quickens up an impressive style. But as he hits the front, he tends to drift left-handed under the whip. And also, I thought, just idle a wee bit, Jim, too.
Yeah, definitely. But the way that race unfolded, they were going into a headwind. It was a real test of stamina. And I don't think it's the same this afternoon. That doesn't mean he can't win. I just think it's a different set of circumstances. And when you know, putting money down and taking a short price, you've got to bear that in mind.
I do think, though, he seems to be back to the sort of form that he showed as a 2-year-old. He was a very smart 2-year-old. Finished 3rd in the Racing Post Trophy. Run that year at Newbury behind Authorised.
That's right, yeah.
Which is a pretty good effort by Danehill Dancer, who seems to be doing so well as a stallion these days. Runners then arriving at the mile start. Let's call up the eye catchers. And Jim and I both thought that Tell looked well. So Babadana, the old boy, impressed Simon going down to the post. In the betting ring, there's been money for Tell. Perhaps people were impressed by the way he looked, but not for Major CADEAUX nor for Rob Roy. Major CADEAUX in particular has been a double negative. Rob Roy and Tell positives there. There's Babadana. Well, Jim, I mean, he doesn't know anybody, anything, this fella, but he has been a very difficult horse for Mark Tompkins to place. He's as tough as old boots, but he's in between the group and the handicap sort of stage of his career, isn't he? He has been for a long time.
Well, he's John Frankham likes this horse, but this afternoon...
Well, I laid it to him, didn't I, the last time? Each way.
You paid as well, Cat. We heard the squeals.
Up.
Yeah, he's been a bit of a monkey. There's no kinder way of putting it. He wants to do his own thing, and I don't think they'll let him. They'll manhandle him down. He's turned out, he's got a race, and look, he's going to prick his ears now and say, oh, all right then.
Sunny scenes here at Sandown and some pretty happy punters. One of these front three go in. This Medicine Path is now touching 2-1, generally 15-8. As support comes for Rob Roy into 11-4 from 7-2, and for Major CADEAUX 3-1 for Burlington Bertie under 30. Tell's gone back out to 9-1 with 12-1 Blythe Knight and 60 Bahia Breeze. Female on the exchanges.
Tell's gone back out to 9 because he's 14-1 on the exchanges. So having gone in, he's certainly a drifter again now. Medicine Path 2-1, solid. Major CADEAUX, Rob Roy. Rob Roy has to be the positive of the race for me.
Rob Roy now second favourite, 11-4.
Well, Jim, as we mentioned earlier, it could be a tactical affair, this. And that could easily go against Medicine Path. But, I mean, jockeys have got to be well up to speed here, haven't they, what goes on?
Well, that's what makes the difference between a good jockey and a great jockey. The one, some people let things happen in life, others make them. What will Jamie Spencer do? We'll see very shortly. He's just planting himself a little bit now, I think.
The last time we saw, well, we haven't seen Rob Roy for a bit. The last time he ran, he did try and make the running at Del Mar in his brief career in the United States. Could be that he might be asked to stride on again. Of course, won the race 2 years ago here. Last two going forward. So the final time and what's been a fantastic day is the Bet365 mile, called home by Simon Holt.
Lined up. And they're off. And Medicine Path just dwelling slightly in the stalls. Where's the pace coming from? It comes from Tell and Kerry McAvoy in the maroon jacket. Rob Roy in the red on the near side. Bahia Breeze followed by Babadana. Blythe Knight is locked away against the running rail. Out wide in yellow sleeves, Metropolitan Man from Major CADEAUX, and Medicine Path is the early back marker as they run down the back straight. And it's the John Dunlop trained Tell that leads the way. Bahia Breeze in second place. Rob Roy is third. Babadana. Blythe Knight is on the inside. Spot his familiar white face, followed by Metropolitan Man, Major CADEAUX, and Medicine Path still in last place. Fears over a really slow gallop, unfounded. It's not too bad. Tell by a couple of lengths to Bahia Breeze. Rob Roy well positioned under Ryan Moore on the inside in the red silks. Blythe Knight and Babadana, old rivals racing together. Then Metropolitan Man, Major CADEAUX locked away, held up to get the trip by Richard Hughes, and Medicine Path and Jamie Spencer look on from last place. They flash past the three pole. Rob Roy looms up on the near side of Tell, followed by Bahia Breeze and Blythe Knight and Babadana. Major CADEAUX making ground up the fence. Medicine Path is now being hurried along to try and join in behind the Metropolitan Man. Didn't get a great run. It's Rob Roy just leaning across towards Tell on the fence. Major CADEAUX now coming through strongly into third place. Will he get home? Followed by Medicine Path and Metropolitan Man, who's had a difficult journey. It's Rob Roy now challenged by Major CADEAUX. Richard Hughes asks Major CADEAUX to quicken up. Metropolitan Man is running on, but Major CADEAUX's going to see it out really well and wins from Rob Roy on the far side of Metropolitan Man. That may be a photo, and Metropolitan Man didn't get a good run. Back in fourth, Tell, followed by Blythe Knight, Babadana, Medicine Path disappointing, and then Bahia Breeze. It was just a question whether this colt would get the mile. Major CADEAUX, the 3-1 winner here. He ran in the 2,000 guineas last season over this distance. Possibly didn't appear to get home on that occasion, but he's really delivered here in the hands of Richard Hughes. He's picked up well, tight for second between Rob Roy and the running on Metropolitan Man.
Well, as we thought it might develop into a tactical affair, and that's exactly what it proved to be. Different type of test for some of the horses that have been clashed recently. And when old Rob Roy went on here, Mike, I thought he might just cling on. Just wandered a little bit as he hit the front, but in behind, settling nicely early on. Major CADEAUX has shown a lot of speed early in his career, and he put that to good use.
And didn't he get a lovely run up the inside of Blythe Knight too? And Richard Hughes is riding with so much confidence, Jim. You know, the horses are running well for Richard, and he's obviously taking a lot from that. Even here, when he has 2 lengths to make up, never resorted to the whip at any stage. It's a hands and heels job for the Major. Metropolitan Man
went for the same run, didn't get quite a smoother passage, but it didn't make any difference. He stayed on well, but Major CADEAUX, probably, well, not probably, the winner on merit. For all, there wasn't much between them at the end. See it head on. Rob Roy in the red takes over the lead here from Tell against the rails. Bahia Breeze of the white cap fading. In behind, old Blythe Knight struggling for pace. He'd want a stronger gallop and easier ground. And now watch the weavers through. Firstly, Major CADEAUX, who eases outside of Rob Roy. Now just watch Joe Fanning in behind. He has to sit for a stride to do there. He has to wait till the other horse has gone clear so he doesn't hamper anything. And by the time he gets going, Major CADEAUX, as you said, Mike, he wasn't really asked for absolutely everything. So to put the second down as an unlucky loser is probably an exaggeration.
Major CADEAUX, 130 with Coral this morning, generally 3, 11-4 and 5-2, returned the 3-1 clear third favourite, that Major CADEAUX. Rob Roy has been called the runner-up, sent off 11-4, second best, with Metropolitan Man, double carpet, 33-1 third, and they bet each way on the dead 8, wins by 3/4 of a length and a short head, and Medicine Path sent off the 15-8 favourite, Barry Dennis's Bismarck.